Shalawama, Shalawama. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. All right. Shalawama, Shalawama. All right. This is number 35 of the This is number 35 of the Astrotheology. This is number 35 of the Astrotheology presentation series. All right. Number 35. We just check to make sure the connection is all right, y'all. All right. Of the Astrotheology presentation. All right. Series. Looks like it's good. So if you're new, welcome. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. It is a pleasure to have you here. This is a presentation of astrotheology, okay? Not the horoscope, okay? Not the horoscope, all right? Uh-oh. This is the book we're going from. You all take a look at that. Give me 1 second. Uh-oh, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? Give me 1 second, all right? Yeah. Hold on, y'all. More technical problems. Give me 1 second. So I'm gonna hold the book up so you all can take a look at it, all right? This is This is the Devil's Pulpit. All right, this is the Devil's Pulpit by Robert Taylor. Okay, y'all. It's the Devil's Pulpit by Robert Taylor. If you have not already gotten it, make sure you download it. It is a free PDF, and for some reason, my computer is locking. Give me 1 second. Let me try to fix this. All right. Give me 1 second, y'all. For whatever reason, my browser is locking. So let me try to see if I can fix this. All right, so maybe I need to close some windows. Give me 1 second, y'all. I will try to fix this real fast. All right. So give me 1 second. Let me try to fix this and then we'll get started. So the book we're working from is called The Devil's Pulpit. It is a compilation of sermons given in the early 1800s. In the early 1800s that were compiled into book form in 1857. All right, this is a powerful, very, very powerful book. If you've been with us for a while, you already know that. If you are new with us, you are in for a treat. This is going to be like nothing you've ever seen before. I can guarantee you that. All right, Shalom. Hopefully this is going to fix the problem and we can go ahead and get started. All right, y'all. So welcome if you're new, welcome, and extra welcome if you have been coming, if you've been coming. All right, give me 1 second. I think we're almost done. All right. I think we're almost done with this. All right. So again, welcome. On this platform that we're on right now, I'm not going to be able to display your, I'm not going to be able to display your comments, but I will be able to read them. Okay, I'll be able to read them. So let's have a good lesson. Let's have a good presentation. Your participation, full participation is appreciated. Let's go ahead and get started, y'all. All right, I'm gonna off my camera. And we are on page 207. All right, we're on page 207, y'all, page 207. The book is 340 some pages, 341 pages. So we're almost finished. We are almost finished. We're on 207 pages. Wow, we are almost finished. That's quite amazing. Quite amazing. Page 207. All right, let me get there. Okay, here we are. So now if you're new, the way we do this is I'm going to read. If anybody wants to come in and read, you're welcome to come in, especially if you follow the Gospels. If you're a Hebrew Israelite who keeps the New Testament, or if you're a Christian who keeps the New Testament, you're welcome to come in and read and also to share your opinion, okay? No evangelizing. This is strictly a review of the book and not an opportunity to evangelize. So this is academic in nature, not theocratic. All right, so page 207, we read, "Thus is this Jacob identified with capital G-O-D, the Father, the Icus or Bacchus, that is the Son, which is the father of the 12 signs of the Zodiac." Okay, but how can Jacob and James, that is Jacob, and James, that is I-M-E-S, right? I-A-M-E-S, that's James, to be universally understood. Okay, but how came Jacob and James, that is Jacob and I-M-E-S, to be universally understood as perfectly synonymous names, when they are certainly no more like each other than the names Bacchus and Apollo, which were different and distinct personifications of one and the self-same deity in the mythology. All right, so the author is saying, what linguistic trick or sleight of hand was used to change the meaning? Let's continue. I am US. This is the next paragraph. I am US, and then there's a footnote. Let's read the footnote. I am US was the same as Apollo and Osiris. This is a citation taken from Bryant, volume 1, page 321. All right, so this book has to do with mythology. So I am us, I-A-M-U-S. That is, again, without the Latin termination, I am. The Latin termination is the suffix es or us, right? Us is the Latin termination. Okay, without its Latin termination, it reads I am. Okay, so I am was the universal and most ancient name of the capital God Apollo. Wow, how many people knew that? The name of Apollo, the deity Apollo, was I am. And his priests were called from his name the Imide, I-M-M-I-D-A-E, or Jameses. They were the very oldest order of priests known in Greece. Okay, so now here's something for me that's problematic. Maybe the author will address it. The chronology is Greece. So Greece is not as ancient, nearly as ancient as the house of Yasharallah, nor Egypt. So let's see how the author addresses this, okay? They were the very oldest order of priests known in Greece. So that really doesn't matter too much because of the chronology, right? So the author, because he still has to deal with Osiris. He still has to deal with Osiris, and that's Egyptian, okay? So anyway, let's see how the author deals with this. They were the very oldest order of priests known in Greece, as the measure of verse called iambic, I-A-M-B-I-C, is derived from the hymn's song to the honor of Imus, or I am us, I-A-M-U-S, right? This is the deity I am, consisting of a short syllable followed by a long one, and it is found in the poetry of all nations. Y'all hear that? It is found in the poetry of all nations. Let me read this again. I'm going to read it from the top. I am us. That is, again, I am us without its Latin termination is I am. I am was the universal and most ancient name of the capital God Apollo, and his priest, or Apollo's priest, were called from his name the Imide, I-M-M-I-D-A-E, or Jameses. Now remember, we're talking about the name James, okay? We're dealing with the name James and how the meanings were changed. All right, so let's continue. They were the oldest order of priests known in Greece. So our time period right now is Greece. The measure of verse called iambic, I-A-M-B-I-C, is derived from the hymn song to the honor of I am us, or Imus, I-A-M-U-S, consisting of a short syllable followed by a long syllable, and it is found in the poetry of all nations. The whole word James anatomized into its, so that's I guess this is a derivation of anatomy. Okay, anatomized into its ammonium radicals presents us with the eternally recurring Trinity in unity. I means the one, am, spelled A-M, means the heat, E-S means the fire, that is, the one great source of heat, the fire, the sun. Y'all got that? So this deity I am, or Apollo, I means the one, am means the heat. So I heat, the ES, or the Latin terminal would be US, but here he has the ES, means the fire. That is the one great source of heat, the fire, the sun. Without the third syllable, the I am, that is the one, the heat or warmth or caloric, as distinguished from fire, the name is naturalized as a name of capital G-O-D and ridiculously called, notice this what he says, and ridiculously called the great, quote, I am, end quote, as in the droll play upon words in the third of Exodus. Moses said to capital G-O-D, I say, what is your name, end quote. And capital G-O-D said to Moses, quote, I am that I am. And thou shalt say, I am hath sent me unto you, end quote, which in our ridiculous version, he's talking about the Bible, Exodus chapter 3, amounts to no more than if he had said his name was Thingamabob. So that's like a thingamajig, right? And Moses was to go to the children of Israel and say to them, Thingamabob, or thingamajig, or what's his name, has sent me to you, which was as much information as the children of Israel could reasonably require, or perhaps as the subject admitted. It was the clearest revelation of the divine character that ever was in the world, and the babes of Christ Jesus are quite as well satisfied with it as the children of Israel. Now, Zion Law School scholars, your alarms should be going off. People are always asking about the name, and now we are dealing with the name. And this is another interesting twist having to do with this name. Would you not agree? Give me 1 second, y'all. I want to check the chats, the comments for a second, okay? Give me 1 second. Zion Law School scholars, your alarms should be going off. Does the Most High have a name? That's the first question. Does the Most High have a name? That is the first question. Second question, is name a Greco-Roman concept, or is name a Hebrew concept? Is name a Greco-Roman concept, or is name a Hebraic concept? Somebody put it in the chat. Please like and share the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. This is serious business, y'all. Let's put the work in. Let's be very active in the chat right now. This is a question that everybody is tripping over. And I don't mean tripping like back in the day tripping. I mean stumbling over, falling over. Everybody wants to know, what is the Most High's name? Almost all people who address this topic, first thing they run to is Exodus chapter 3. The very first thing they run to is Exodus chapter 3. But Zion Law School scholars, you must deal with this issue. And I know y'all already know the answers, but if you are new, or if you are not enrolled in our Saturday 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time class, you may not know the answer. That's okay. But the expectation of Zion Law School scholars is very high, and I know y'all know it. Now let's go back over this text. Let's go back over the text, all right? Let's deal with this. We have to address this. Now, the issue, well, I don't know if I wish I knew who was here from yesterday, right? Because we dealt with a lot of this yesterday. All right, so we're gonna start where the highlight is right here, y'all. And we're gonna take a dive into this, okay? Put your questions and comments in the chat, in the comment section. If you can answer a question, answer. If you have a link or a meaning or definition of a word, put it in the chat, okay? Help us get this information out so we can get our people educated. So we're gonna look at page 206 and we're gonna go through this, all right? Well, better yet, we're gonna start, I don't wanna start there. Let's start from the top. Let's start right here where it says, bear in mind, right here. Let's begin right there. We're gonna review, all right? Let's review, better yet, you know what, instead of, we may as well review from the top, y'all, right? We may as well, because this is an important topic, we can just review from right here. We'll review from right here, okay? Here we go. Let me go to the internet so I can try to follow the comments as we go. All right, so here we go, y'all. We're gonna get into it. Here we are, we're dealing with the divine name, the tetragrammaton. This would include the Ahaya deity as well as the Yahuwah deity. It includes both. Let's deal with it. Page 206. As no history, no geography, no chronology, no annals, registers, or vestiges of fact in all the world has any account of the existence of such persons as these sons of thunder. Now, who are the sons of thunder? Well, it's the ones we're dealing with right now, right? That's what this whole lesson is about. The sons of thunder, all right? James and John, Let's continue. Sons of thunder, all right. Shall we be blind to the light of evidence, which a perfect resemblance of names, we're dealing with names, okay? Subject matter is names, and a perfect similarity of the fable, he's talking about the Gospels, flashes on us in proof that the ancient paganism and the mythology, which we now call Christianity, are one and the self-same religion. So we demand that the author prove this. What is his evidence? Clearly, his evidence is coming to, well, we've already seen it's going to be based upon the etymological meaning of these names. Okay, the paragraph we read on page 207 looked at the etymological meaning of the name James. Okay, let's continue. We're giving that context. Let's continue. Observe then the demonstration, and I do beseech you to bar me off from your convictions as long as you possibly can do so. In other words, the author is saying, don't believe me. Wait until you hear all of my evidence, and then you make a decision as to whether what I am saying, that's the author speaking, is real or false. This is what the author is saying. Let's continue. All right. All right. Only be rational. So the author is asking you to be rational and surrender your conviction to nothing short of rational demonstration. In other words, the author is saying, don't believe anything that's not based on the science, and he's going to show you the science. What's the science? The linguistics of it, all right? Let's continue. Let's continue. Bear in mind then that the story which makes so distinguishing a portion of 3 out of 4 of our gospels, y'all have to go back to yesterday's lesson, a presentation to get that information, of the metamorphosis of Christ upon the holy mountain. The metamorphosis is referring to the transfiguration. The metamorphosis is a more literal meaning of the Greek word that is rendered as what was it? The transfiguration. The Christ figure's transfiguration was more literally, again, a metamorphosis where the Christ figure became sonified. The Christ figure became the Son. The Christ figure metamorphed into the Son. Watch the yesterday's presentation to get all of those details. All right, let's continue. Bear in mind that it was the distinguished and exclusive privilege of Peter, James, and John to be witnesses of this metamorphosis or transfiguration or glorification, or what you please, of Christ upon this holy mountain. Significantly, the Gospels do not identify the name of that mountain, okay? Bear in mind that if this had happened as an incident peculiar to Christianity, it could not have happened before the founding of Christianity. All right, y'all got that? The author is saying if this is specific to Christianity, it cannot or should not have happened before there ever was a Christianity, right? All right. In other words, this is specifically to the Christ figure in the Gospels, if this is specific to Christianity. All right, let's see how that comes back up as we read. Let's continue. Bear in mind that your Christ in the Gospel constantly speaks of his 12 apostles, or any one of them, as being one with himself, as he was one with the Father, right? Okay, everybody remembers that. Bear in mind that the name James, James, is always rendered into Latin as Jacobus, of which the termination us, now that termination, y'all, that termination is the suffix. Let me show it to you. It's the suffix us. Let me highlight that for y'all so y'all know what we're dealing with. Let me find it real fast. All right. So here we are. So here's the Latin termination us. Everybody see that? That's the Latin termination us. So a termination is a suffix. So here we see the suffix or the Latin termination on Jacobus. Y'all see that? If I can get it. So there's the Latin termination, right? Jacobus. Jacobus. The us is the Latin termination. Now also keep in mind, we read about James on page 207 over here. So there was no there was no J back in the day, right? So that would be I, correct? Everybody remember that? And then we see the AM, the am, so that's where the I am, and then the ES suffix, everybody see that? That's the ES suffix on James, which is really the Latin termination or the Latin suffix us. Let's continue with the show. Let's continue with our reading. All right. Bear in mind, the name James is always rendered into the Latin Jacobus, of which the termination us, the suffix us, is merely grammatical. Y'all hear that? It doesn't have meaning. It's just grammatical or mechanical, right? The Latin termination us is merely grammatical and leaves us the name of Jacob. And now you see the modern Hebrew name here, that IAC, IAC, okay? Now, next we see Ob. So IAC.Ob, and this is from Genesis chapter 26, verse 36. Next paragraph. But Iacchus, spelled IACCHUS, is the direct, undistinguished, unconcealed. See, in other words, it's direct. It has not been hidden. It's not hidden Anybody who knows language plainly can see it. Okay, but Iacchus, Iacchus, is thy direct, undisguised, unconcealed name of the deity Bacchus. Y'all got that? Y'all got that? So the author is saying that Jacob, which is IAC and then OB, it appears he's trying to make a connection between Jacob and the deity Bacchus, right? Well, let's continue. Bacchus is the deity of wine, which without its Latin termination is Iac, IAC. Y'all see that? So the author is saying that Jacob and Iac are linguistically the same. That's what he's saying, linguistically the same name, okay, linguistically. All right, let's continue. The direct origin of our English Jack. So IAC in English is Jack, J-A-C-K, right? Because there was no J, so it's IAC, and then they added the K, Jack. All right, the radical of Jao, spelled J-A-O or I-O. The radical of Jao, we see the Greek, and we see J-E-U-E. And all our names for capital G-O-D, in which we are never to lose sight of the perfect analogy of physical phenomena that the theological, with the theological allegory. In other words, the author is saying there's a story, right? And then there's a physical phenomena, okay? So now let's continue. As we always find Jack, remember Jack is IAC, right, for Jacob, or the deity. As we always find Jack signifying capital G-O-D, and Tom, T-O-M, signifying the devil. So I've never seen Tom or Tommy signifying the devil or hell. In the 1800s, that might have been the case. If anybody has the, if anybody wants to do some good for us, could you look that up and put it in the chat? Tom, Tommy, right? Meaning the hellfire or the devil. If you can look that up and put it in the chat, I would appreciate it very much. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Let's make it do what it do, y'all. All right. Here we go. If you go to heaven when you die, you will go to Jack of the Box. Darrell-El, thanks for putting what Jack of the Box means in yesterday's comments. I appreciate that very much. If y'all want to know what that means, check yesterday's video and you'll get the understanding of what Jack in the Box meant in the 1800s. All right. But if you go to the other place, you'll go to hell and Tommy. All right. So he's talking religion, being sarcastic. But Ob, spelled O-B, let's read the footnote. Ob is a serpent in the Egyptian language, was styled Ob. So styled means spelled, okay? So the serpent in Egyptian was spelled O-B. This is according to Bryant, volume 1. A-B or Ab generally signifies a father. Y'all see that? Ab, a lot of the Hebrew Israelites will say Abba. I think that's in the Gospels, right? Ab generally signifies a father, indifferently styled or spelled A-B or A-U-B, and also spelled O-B. This is a citation from Ib, spelled I-B, volume 2, page 202. So go get these references if y'all want to dig further into that. Let's go back to the paragraph. But Ob, right? Ob is a serpent, as in the Egyptian language. But Ob was a direct name of capital God as signifying the Father, and added to Iac, spelled IAC, or Jack, made the whole name Jack-O. Let's spell it, JACK-OB. Okay, that is capital God, the Father. Capital God, the Father. Now, let's get into this a little bit. When, Zion Law School scholars, when did the use of calling the Most High Father begin? Who popularized it? Who popularized calling the deity Father? It was JC, the Christ figure, in the Gospels. It was not the house of Yasharallah. The house of Yasharallah always knew that their relationship to the Most High was an adoptive relationship. Okay, you can check any good Bible dictionary and you'll get this information. Whereas the pagans saw their relationship to deity as being a blood relationship. Therefore, there's a big problem with the Christ figure calling the deity Father or his Father, because that aligns with paganism. The house of Yasharallah never did that. The Christ figure called himself a Jew. Judaism is a religion that began during or shortly after Babylonian captivity. I'm speaking chronology and facts, not religion. Deuteronomy chapter 29 tells us that the promised land was a burning waste that could not support life whatsoever. So our ancestors never returned to the land of Israel, which they're calling Judah, because it was a burning waste and it could not support life, right? Judaism is not the bloodline house of Yasharallah. It is a religion anybody can join. Whereas the house of Yasharallah is a bloodline connected to a specific landmass, right? A specific landmass, a promised land with a common culture, common language, common economy, okay? With a common law, right, scholars? So the author, in my opinion, I wish somebody was in here to discuss this and give their opinion also. So in my opinion, so far, the author is making some very, very good points, because Christianity, in this regard to deity being the Father, is pagan. Without a doubt, y'all check any good Bible dictionary, you'll see it, okay? It was the Christ figure who popularized calling the deity Father. Only Isaiah, if I remember correctly, maybe Isaiah and one other time, called the Most High Father, okay? So in my opinion, from what I read and understand, that's a Jeremiah 8:8 occurrence, right? A Jeremiah 8:8 occurrence. All right, let's continue to the next paragraph. I hope y'all are enjoying this, but I don't see anything in the comments section. What's going on, y'all? Y'all don't like what we're dealing with? You don't like the topic? What's going on? Why is it comments empty? Nobody has any questions, comments, anything to offer to the topic? Let's continue. Let's put the work in, y'all. Let's put the work in. All right. Okay. And Jake, or Jack-O, called Jacob. Y'all got that? Jack, Jack-O-B, called Jacob, spelled Jacob. So what happened? The K was dropped. The K was dropped to get Jacob. All right. And Jack-O, called Jacob, was applied to the grandson of Abraham. In other words, Abraham's grandson was named Jacob. They specifically used the name Jacob. Now remember, we're dealing with English renderings, not Ibaryath, right? But let's continue. So the name Jacob was applied to the grandson of Abraham as being the father of the 12 patriarchs. So in other words, Jacob had 12 sons, right? These are the 12 tribes. Those 12 patriarchs or tribes have been proved to be none other than the personified genie of the 12 divisions of the Zodiac in the old allegory. So what the author is saying right here, the author is saying that the 12 tribes of Israel are actually the 12 Zodiac signs, okay? Roderick's point of view says, very interesting. I do know that no one called him father in the Old Testament. That is something you definitely consider. Absolutely, Roderick's point of view. Thanks for breaking the ice with the comments, and you are exactly right. You're exactly right. Y'all don't be shy. Put what you know in the, don't be selfish with what you know. All right, please share your knowledge. Somebody might be shy to ask a question, okay? And your comment might be the answer to that question, right? So don't be shy, all right? This is an opportunity for us to work together and present this information together as a team. Okay, Gary, hey, Gary, I gave you a call, man. Nobody answered your phone. Gary Tucker writes, is the writer referring to the Acts of Thomas or the Gospel of Thomas? Let me go back and see, because I don't know. Give me 1 second, Gary. The chapter that we're dealing with is Mark chapter 9, verse 2 and 3. So he's giving the etymological meaning, he's giving the etymology of James, James. As you're gonna see real soon here, this is what we've been working on. This is a whole breakdown on James so far. All right, well, not a breakdown, that's not a good way to describe it. We're looking at the etymological meaning, deconstructing it. All right, so let's continue. Those 12 patriarchs have been proved to be none other than the personified genii of the 12 divisions of the Zodiac in the old allegory. So the author is saying is that the 12 tribes of Israel are the 12 Zodiac signs, okay? We find that in the Old Testament, right? This is what he's saying. So I guess he's not talking about the 12 tribes that are mentioned in Revelation. He's talking about the Old Testament. And the 12 apostles are the same allegorical genii in the New. So the 12 apostles are also representing the 12 Zodiac signs. Thus, in this Jacob or Jacob, thus is this Jacob or Jacob identified with capital G-O-D, the Father, the Iacchus, I-A-C-C-H-U-S, or Bacchus, B-A-C-C-H-U-S, or Bacchus, that is the Son, which is the father of the 12 signs of the Zodiac. Y'all got that? So the author is saying that the Son, S-U-N, is the father of the 12 signs of Zodiac, and that Jacob is identified with the deity, right? The Father. He's identified with the deity. Okay? It's not saying that he is the deity, at least not yet. It's saying he is identified with capital G-O-D, the Father, the Iacchus, I-A-C-C-H-U-S, US, or Bacchus. And Bacchus is the sun, right? Bacchus is the sun, therefore, or which is the father of the 12 signs of the zodiac. Okay, so in this case, Jacob would be the father of the 12 signs of the zodiac. Let's see how he fleshes this out, or at least he's identified with it. Let's see how he fleshes it out. But how came Jacob and James, that is Jacob and IMS? Now remember, there was no J. There was no J, there was an I. So instead of J, it's IAMES, James, Imes. But how can Jacob and James, that is Jacob and James, to be universally understood as perfectly synonymous names? So the author is saying that James and Jacob are synonymous. They're the same name. James and Jacob are synonymous. It's the same name, but how? That's the question, how? When they are certainly no more like each other. Well, that's true. James and Jacob are not like each other. They have a completely different spelling, right? When they are certainly no more like each other than the names Bacchus and Apollo, which were different and distinct personifications of one and the self-same deity in the mythology. Y'all got that? It's saying that Bacchus and Apollo were different and distinct personifications. Okay, so they're different, but it's one and the same deity. In other words, it's the same deity, but Bacchus is represented one way and Apollo is represented a separate way, but they're both representing the same deity. All right, let's continue, scholars. I am us, IAM, US. The Latin termination is the US. The footnote reads, Iamus or IAMUS was the same as Apollo and Osiris. This is a citation from a book called Bryant, volume 1, page 321. So let's put this in perspective. Apollo would be Greek and Osiris would be Egyptian. All right, so that's our chronology. Let's context and chronology. Let's continue. Iamus, that is, again, without its Latin termination, is I am. I am was the universal and most ancient name of the deity Apollo. Wow, did y'all get that? I am is the most ancient name of the deity Apollo. I am. Y'all know a Hebrew Israelite camp that uses I am. I think they have some apparel that they use, I am. How many people know that the deity Apollo is the most ancient name of I am? How many people knew that? The Tetragrammaton, the deity Yahweh, Yahuwah, all of that, and Ahia, the deity Ahia, right? These are the I am deities, okay? This is the deity Apollo according to the author. Let's read it again. I am us, that is again, without its Latin termination, which is US, is I am. I am was the universal. Y'all got that? I am was universal and most ancient name of the deity Apollo. Talk about this with your loved ones and your friends. I am is the deity Apollo. And Apollo's priests were called from his name, the Imadae, spelled I-M-M-I-D-A-E. Those were his priests. Or Jameses, spelled J-A-M-E-S-E-S. They were the very oldest order of priests. The Imadae, who are the Jameses, were the very oldest order of priests known in Greece. Y'all got that? Known in Greece. As the measure of the verse called iambic, I-A-M-B-I-C, is derived from the hymns sung to the honor of Imus, I-A-M-U-S, consisting of a short syllable followed by a long syllable, and it is found in the poetry of all nations. The whole word James, J-A-M-E-S, atomized into its ammonium radical. So anatomy, that means broken apart, right? Broken apart into its ammonium radicals, presents us with the eternally recurring Trinity in unity. Okay, well, prove it. Show us this Trinity in unity. Next paragraph. I means the one. Am, that's spelled A-M, means the he. So we have I, the one, am the he. E-S, which is the suffix, the Latin terminal. E-S means the fire. So I, the one, am the heat, the fire. That is the one great source of heat, the fire, the sun, S-U-N. Without a third syllable, the I am, that is the one, the heat or warmth or caloric, as distinguished from fire. Y'all got that? The one, the heat or warmth or caloric, as distinguished from fire. See, fire is hot, right? Well, now we're just talking about heat and warmth, okay? So as distinguished from fire, the name is naturalized as a name of capital G-O-D and ridiculously called the great, quote, I am, end quote, as in that droll play upon words. Y'all got that? The author saying it is a play upon words. It is a play upon words. Let's repeat it. Let's repeat it. I got to find my place now. The name is naturalized as a name of capital G-O-D and ridiculously called the great, quote, I am, end quote, as in the droll play upon words in the 3rd of Exodus. I just can't believe this. I mean, this is so good. The author is saying that in Exodus chapter 3, it's a play on words, right? He's saying it's a play on words, y'all. All right, he says, he continues, he says here, and the ridiculously called great I am, as in that droll play on words in the 3rd of Exodus. Moses said to capital G-O-D, quote, I say, what is your name, end quote. And capital G-O-D says to Moses, quote, I am that I am. And thou shalt say, I am has sent me unto you, end quote, which in our ridiculous version, that's the English version of the Bible, amounts to no more than if he said his name was Thingamabob. That's like saying thingamajig, right? And Moses was to go to the children of Israel and say to them, Thingamabob, or what's his name, has sent me to you. And that in itself doesn't make sense, does it, y'all? What's his name has sent me to you, right? But y'all should hear, well, maybe I'll come back to that. Maybe I'll come back. Let me continue. All right, which was as much information. So in other words, what's his name is not enough information. In fact, there's no information, right? To say what's his name has sent me to you, which was as much information as the children of Israel could reasonably require, or perhaps as the subject admitted. It was the clearest revelation of the divine character that ever was in the world. Y'all got that? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. It was the clearest revelation of the divine character that ever was in the world. So in other words, Moses, who's afraid for his life, who a whole nation of people was putting their life in jeopardy, putting their young children and their women in harm's way. When Moses asked the deity, what is his name? The deity turns around and says, what? What does the deity say? He doesn't even answer the question. He just says, I am that I am, right? That's not a name. But the question is, that I raised before, is name a Hebraic concept or is it Greco-Roman? All right, that's really the issue. But let's ignore that. We're talking about this deity's character, his character. Is it a good character to not answer clearly? You're expecting this man Moses and his people, a whole nation of women and children, to do what you tell them to do, but yet you won't even answer their question directly or identify yourself so they can know who it is that's telling them to do this or that, right? So that they can check to see if they know you or if their ancestors know you. Y'all follow what I'm saying? So the author is saying because the deity did not say my name is such and such, or give them something to identify the deity by, deity has poor character. That's what the author is saying, because he don't care how they feel, whether or not they're afraid, or to try to comfort them or to give them strength. He just said, hey, I am that I am. And don't ask me no more questions, right? I am who I am. Don't ask me. It's none of your business who I am. Okay? That's what the author is speaking of in terms of the deity's attitude toward the people, by suggesting that the deity has a bad character. All right. So now let's continue. He says it was the clearest. So when he says it was the clearest, he's talking about this statement here, okay, I'll just start reading. And say to them, Thingamaboo, or what's his name, has sent me to you, right? Everybody remembers that, okay, what Moses said. Okay, that wasn't sufficient. So according to the author, that was insensitive. It wasn't good judgment, right? Because you're expecting these people to put their life at risk, and you give an answer like that. So he's saying it was the clearest revelation of the divine character that ever was in the world. And the babes of JC, the Christ figure, are quite as well satisfied with it as the children of Israel. So in other words, the author is saying that the followers of that deity were basically gullible, and he's calling them children. That's why the word children is italicized. The children, in other words, the gullible, trusting, or stupid, right? That's what he's really saying. They're stupid because they believed it, and that answer wasn't worthy of anybody believing this person. But House of Yasharallah, Zion Law School scholars, you should know that the issue here is whether or not name is a Hebraic concept or a Greek concept, and whether or not, based upon that information, and there's a lot of grammar in this, that will tell you that this is a Jeremiah 8:8 occurrence, okay? Most High does not have a name. Let me leave it at that. So Roderick's point of view writes, Galatians 4:22 through 24 speaks of an allegory story about Abraham. I think that will kind of add to this lesson. Excellent point, excellent point. Very, very good point, Roderick's point of view. That's Galatians chapter 4, verse 22 through 24. Excellent point. All right, so let's continue. This is a big issue, y'all. And this is a nice nuance to the story. Very, very nice nuance to the story. All right, now let's continue. So just remember, y'all, if you're calling on I am, that's the tetragrammaton or the Ahaya deity, we know grammatically that they are the same deity, spoken of in a different person, different grammatical person, okay? Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody is invited. Register. Make sure you read the course description. You can learn more then. All right. Don't be duped. Don't be duped. All right. Let's continue. Now it happens. I hope I explained that clearly, y'all. This is such an important issue. I hope I explained it well. Please like and share the video. Like and share and subscribe. If y'all been here this long, you know, y'all can like it. There's less likes than there are viewers right now. So if you forgot to like it, could you like it? It helps. It helps to get people here. Roderick's point of view writes, this is an example. Let me repeat that. Roderick's point of view says, this example of this attitude of this deity happens quite often in the Old Testament and has left me wondering, did they even know whether the deities was the truth and living capital God or someone else? Roderick's point of view, from my point of view, I would suggest looking at Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. And then formulating a solution starting there, okay? Because our ancestors were involved with so many different deities, right? They were involved in so many deities. Okay, so now let's continue. Now it happens most awkwardly for any pretense to originality in our Christian mythos of the transfiguration of JC, the Christ figure upon the Holy Mount, that we have the same scene as occur. Let's see, let me change the page. We have the same scene as occurring to deities of the same name. Y'all got that? Y'all hear that? This is becoming very problematic for Christianity. Okay, let me read it again. Now it happens most awkwardly. Okay, so this is an awkward, uncomfortable truth, but it has to be said. So the author says he's going to say it. Now it happens most awkwardly for any pretense to originality. In other words, this transfiguration is not original, no matter what these Christians say. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but the fact is that the transfiguration is not original. Earlier, the author asserted that Christianity is paganism. So now the author is taking us further into the pagan origin of this story. First pagan origin is or was the association with the deity Apollo and Bacchus, right? Next association to pagan origin is, let's continue reading. Now it happens most awkwardly for any pretense to originality in our Christian mythos of the transfiguration of the Christ figure upon the Holy Mount, that we have the same scene as occurring to deities of the same name and in infinite antiquity. So a deity with the same name, a long time before it happened in Christianity, there was a transfiguration. All right, in an infinite antiquity, before his time, described in the sixth Olympic ode of the poet Pindar, who flourished 500 years before the Christian era. All right, so there was a transfiguration 500 years before the Christ figure. With this only difference that in the poem of Pindar, the tale is majestic, sublime, and beautiful, whereas in the gospel of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it is such a tale as, if were found anywhere else, would be a disgrace to the children of Israel. So the author is saying that the only difference between the transfiguration, between the poem of Pindar, is that Pindar was a sublime, majestic, and beautiful event, whereas the gospel, the transfiguration, is a disgrace. Well, let's see. I mean, the author needs to prove that it was a disgrace, right? He needs to prove it. So let's see his proof that it was a disgrace. Pindar, speaking of the capital God-Iamos, remember, that is James, who was believed to be conducted by Apollo to Olympia, says that quote, they both came to Petra, that is to Peter, the rock, to the Petra, Elibatos, that is the sun, S-U-N, trod rock, end quote. A favorite epithet for a rock so high as to only be accessible to the all-climbing sun, S-U-N. Upon the lofty Croatian mount, there Apollo bestowed upon James a double portion of prophetic knowledge. And here we see some text written in Greek, 4 lines of it. Next paragraph. We have no account, however, of any particular degree of knowledge possessed by any James of the gospel. Eusebius, however, so famous for supplying deficiencies of evidence, had not lost sight of the idea and assures us that immediately after the ascension, quote, our capital L-O-R-D imparted to James, John, and Peter the gift of knowledge, end quote. And if he did so, 'tis the best account that can be given for the fact that neither the one nor the other had ever more a word to say in favor of Christianity. For so soon as their knowledge came in, their Christianity went out. You know, the author makes a very, very strong and convincing point here, right? Because if this transfiguration is the event that provides the greatest power, evidence of truth that the Christ figure lived, that he did all of these things that he said he did, that he was the deity's son, they seems like they should have written something, or something should be written about that, right? To memorialize it. When you look back in the Old Testament, there's always a memorial made, right? There's some record made of things, okay? And then the Most High says we are to trust him because of his record, the memorial, the evidence that he provided. But in the Gospels, these events, there's no record. Nobody wrote anything. Okay, so now let's continue. But that's just my opinion, you know. All right, so let's continue. Where were we? Okay. A man may indeed have knowledge of other kinds, and upon other subjects, but I am sure he can have none upon the subject of Christianity. If he has any higher respect for it than I have, but, quote, a wise man will hear and will increase knowledge. He will understand the proverb and the interpretation thereof, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. Well, he's got a good point, right? A wise man will hear and increase in knowledge, okay? He will understand the proverb and the interpretation. But if nobody writes anything down, how are you going to know? Right? Or if you don't have a trustworthy mechanism of oral histories in place, how is anybody going to know? Especially given, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's so many parallels. Okay, there are people, apostles who have the same name, right? There's Christianity is aligning with deities in paganism. So Christianity aligns with paganism. So how can you make sense of this stuff, sort it out, if there's no record? There's no historical record, right? You're forced, if you use your mind, you're forced to say, well, the Gospels are pagan. Okay? That's the way I see it. You're left no choice, because otherwise you just have to believe. And who wants to just believe? All right? Who wants to just believe? Okay, so let's take a look at some of the comments. Roger's point of view says, okay, I think I already read that. I think that's it. I don't see any other. All right, so how did y'all find this presentation? Let's see, so we could, all right. So we just completed the chapter. The next chapter is the Crucifixion of Christ. A Good Friday sermon. This was given on November 14th, 1830. November 14th, 1830. This ought to be good, y'all. I'm trying to decide if we should go into this or stop, because this is a new chapter. I think we'll stop because it'll make it easier for y'all to find the videos when we come back. Okay, so the Crucifixion of Christ will be tomorrow. This sermon was given November 14th, 1830. So y'all know it's more reliable than anything that we would get today, right? Because it's so old. 1830 was when this sermon was given. Again, it's the Crucifixion of Christ, the Good Friday sermon. This is going to be good, y'all. Make sure y'all here tomorrow for this. So here's the schedule. All times are Eastern Standard Time. Sunday, 2 p.m., Monday, 9 p.m., Tuesday, 10 p.m., Wednesday, 10 p.m., Thursday, 10 p.m., Friday, 10 p.m., Saturday, 10 p.m., all Eastern Standard Time. So can y'all give me some feedback in the comments? What did y'all think of these last few pages? What the lesson we did, the presentation today? What did y'all think of it? Can y'all put something in the chat? For me, the information is profound because I normally approach this from a grammatic point of view, also a contextual point of view when I deal with Exodus chapter 3, because it really doesn't make any sense when you analyze Exodus chapter 33, the verses in question. But he brings out some excellent points, some really, really excellent points. Specifically, what I like is that I am is the deity Apollo. Okay, I really like that. When I tell people that Yahweh, Yahuwah, and Ahia are the same deity, they usually fight, right? They usually fight. So the I am being Apollo allows me to introduce mythology into it, right? And I can say, well, all right, well, I am is also Apollo. So how can this be the Most High? Y'all follow me? I hope y'all follow me. I hope everybody sees what I'm saying here. But one of the things I did not agree with the author on, in my opinion, he says that the transfiguration would be a disgrace to the children of Israel. I don't think he really presented anything on it, other than his opinion. Maybe he's just being sarcastic. Let me read through it. This is on page 208, where he says, whereas in the Gospel of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it is such a tale as, if it were found anywhere else, would be a disgrace or a disgrace to the children of Israel. Now, he may be saying that it's a disgrace to the children of Israel because it is pagan. And he's already mentioned about the tale of Pandahar. He may say that that's why it's a disgrace. If that's what he meant, okay, I can agree, because that violates the first commandment, right? Don't bring another power before my face. And that may be what he's talking about, it being a disgrace, or he may just being sarcastic, right? He may just be being sarcastic. Let me go back. Let me check the chat. All right, still nothing new in the chat. Let's see, what else can I say about this? If anybody knows the relationship between Hell and Tommy, could you put it in the comments, please? Tommy, is Ionis the Greek form of James? Yes, I believe so. That's correct. That's correct. And the US is a Latin termination, or the US is a Latin suffix. So he says you have to drop it off. So the I becomes a J, or James gets, the J in James gets dropped. So Gary Tucker, the information on that topic is on page 206 and page 207. 206 and page 207. But he focuses, the author is asserting that Jacob and James are different names, but they represent the same deity. If so, that would make Janus a Roman god. Possibly. I would, yeah. I mean, we have to check into it, because all of these things are just different names for the same deities. So I would agree with you, and I would look into that further. Yes. So page 207. Jacob and James became the same. So they're synonyms. So this whole workout was to show us how Jacob and James are synonyms, but they're hidden, right? They're hidden by the language, okay? You'd have to take an etymological look at this, and then also examine history. That would be history and mythology, right? Because we're dealing with the deity Apollo. Roger's point of view writes, I am being Apollo is very interesting. Never heard of that. Got to study some more. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. As a matter of fact, let me highlight that. See, this may help some people who are calling on the I am deities, right? And y'all know the camps who call on call on these not only camps, but also Christians and other Hebrew Israelites. They're calling on the I am deity. And that whole context makes absolutely no sense when you read it in Exodus 3. And you look at it in terms of the context of what was happening. So I am us, also Jameses, Apollo, let's see, Gary Tucker writes, Janus is the chief Roman deity, unlike any other Roman lowercase gods. All right. Yeah. This would be a good project for somebody to work out, actually. You know what I mean? If anybody wants to present this, to come in and present this, y'all welcome. If you work this out, put it together, and you want to present it here on the Zion Law School platform, you're more than welcome to do so. This is such a hot topic, y'all. This question comes up so much, so often. I have some private videos. I don't show them anymore because people get mad, right, over this deity name stuff. But their concepts are totally off because they don't realize that name is a Greco-Roman concept. Hebraically, we have appellations and titles. Appellations and titles. Names, Greco-Roman, and they refer to animals, objects, a horse, a chicken, a cow, cattle, goyim, a pen, pencil, chair, table. These things have names. Living, intelligent entities like us, we are powers, connotatively gods. We have an appellation and we have titles. So in other words, if you appeal to me as Dr. Yasapa, I will acknowledge you. I'll respond. If you appeal appellation to me, right? All right, but I am not Dr. Yasapa. I am me, right? I am. All right. So who am I? I am a condensation of all awareness, all consciousness, all knowledge condensed into this physical body. Psalms 82:6, connotatively gods, right? Gods. Okay, so let's see, what else do we have? What else do we have? Oh, by the way, if y'all get a chance, look up the meaning, the lawful meaning of male and female, man and woman, right? You fill out an application, it's gonna ask you, are you male or female? Fill that out, fill it out. Look up the lawful meaning of that, it might surprise you, all right? It might surprise you. It might surprise you, okay? Male and female, as opposed to masculine and feminine. All right, y'all. So we're gonna stop here so that we can make the presentations easy to search, right? Because in the title, I'll just put the Crucifixion of the Christ and you know that's the title. Well, that's where we're going to start. Roger's point of view writes, for some reason, I believe I have remembered that there are Greek lowercase gods that are called sons of thunder. I just don't remember who they are. Yeah, you know what? Let me check it real quick. Okay, so I Google searched. Well, let me show it. So y'all can see I Google searched Greek god sons of thunder. it says here, Zeus is the sky and thunder deity. Let's see, his name is cognate with the first element of his Roman equivalent, Jupiter. All right, so who else? Who else? Let's see. So far, I only see Zeus. List of thunder gods. All right, so frequently the thunder deities is known as the chief or king of the deities. For example, Indra in Hinduism, Zeus in Greek, and Piran in ancient Slavic religion, or otherwise a close relation. For example, the thrower. Yeah, how do we forget thrower? Yeah, thrower, son of Odin in Norse mythology. In Greek mythology, the Elysian fields or the Elysian plains. So let's click on this. Yeah, how do we forget Odin and thrower? So let's see. All right. Okay, so here we are. So thrower, son of Odin. In Greek mythology, so we have the Elysian fields, all of that. Okay, so we looked at that. Okay, then Zeus and Jupiter. So Egypt is also, so here again, the Elysian may have instead been derived from the Egyptian term Ayalu, meaning reeds. Okay, so I guess that's it. Let's see what else. List of thunder gods, Tesha, but that's Horian, Abab, Marduk, Abab, Eurasia, Torhunt, Zeus. So we looked at all of these. So we saw those: East Asia, Li Gong, Chinese, Susano, Japanese, the Americas, Thunderbird, all right. Jolati, Cock, Inca, Apaquaquil, whatever that is, Apocataquil. So these are some other ones, but these are from the Americas. To see Africa, Set, a thunder god? I thought Set was the sun going down. Shangu, Oya, Sango, South Pacific. I don't know of any of those. All right, so yeah, let's go back to any other comments. All right, y'all. I think that's it for today. We went 1 hour and it looks like 47 minutes. So it's good. We kept it right around 1.5 hours. All right. So thanks for spending your evening with me. I appreciate it. And see you back tomorrow. If anybody have any additional thoughts on this topic, be sure to fill us in, put it in the comment. Or if it's something really good, email me. If it's something really good, send me an email. But I can't stress this topic enough. This is such a big topic. I mean, y'all wouldn't believe how many people come to class and stop coming over this name issue. The two big things, the name issue and the Christ issue, right? What does that have to do with me? You believe what you want to believe, and that's on you, right? It's not on me. I'm just going to teach you. I don't have anything to do with what the information says or how you. But yeah, these are big issues, y'all. But thanks. And I'm going to go and try to relax, do my thing. So Shalom, scholars. It's been a pleasure. See y'all tomorrow. Let me do the schedule one more time. All times are Eastern Standard Time. Monday, 9 p.m., Tuesday, 10 p.m., Wednesday, 10 p.m., Thursday, 10 p.m., Friday, 9 p.m., Saturday, 8 p.m., Sunday, 2 p.m. Make sure y'all come to our make sure y'all come to our live online Saturday, 10 a.m. class. The link is in the chat. You don't have to pay anything. You have to register, and then you'll get a link to enter the classroom, but make sure you read it, read everything, okay? And also support us. Order our streaming 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. It's a phenomenal course, y'all. It's going to teach you Ibaryath. It's going to teach you etymology, everything about the pictographs. The culture is in the language. The culture is in the pictographs. You're going to get a vocabulary, 200 and what? I think it's 225 vocabulary words, y'all. This course is packed with information. It's 113 video lessons, and I'm teaching it. It's not boring, trust me. The word studies are phenomenal. You're gonna get information that's gonna blow you away, all right? But don't take my word for it. I've made it almost free, $1 to try it out, $10 per month to subscribe. And I'm sure you're gonna keep that class, that streaming class for years and years and years. I'm sure of it. Anyway, so thank you. If you wanna support, you can buy any of our books. I think I have 7 books that I've written in the description box. The link to the Saturday class is 506, the Curses course. We go into everything about Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 to 29. We break every word down. We look at all of its etymological meanings, right? We look at the grammar part of speech, the morphology, and the really nice thing about it, we show you how the words are constructed, how they're made. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and all of the rationale. That's Saturday, 10 a.m. in the morning. The link is in the chat. So if y'all want to support us, enroll in our classes, buy our books, or if you don't want to do that, you can make a one-time or recurring donation to our PayPal, right? And I want to announce, I'm not going to announce it formally yet, but I want to write the Torah in Ibaryath with the English translation, And it's going to cost money, and I'm going to have to hire people to help me. So if y'all are interested in helping me do that, provide a Torah and Ibaryath, I'm going to put up a GoFundMe or something. But I just want to put it out there now. I'm not formally announcing it. I don't know if people really want it, you know, but I can't imagine why they would not want to have our records in our language, Ibaryath, with our translation, which will be different from what you see in the KJV and all of these other Bible versions that really hide information. They hide information from us. All right, so anyway, I put it out there. Let me know what y'all think. Especially let me know if y'all are interested in having a Torah written in Ibaryath with the accurate, honest translation in English. Okay, so let me know, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks again for your time.